It's August 12th, 4:01 p.m. Year is 2025. May I please call to the order the meeting of Ulster County Industrial Development Agency's Governance Committee. The mission of the Ulster County Industrial Development Agency is to advance the job opportunities, general prosperity, and long-term economic vitality of Ulster County residents by targeting tax incentives, bonding, and other assistance to foster creation and attraction of new business and the retention and expansion of existing business. May I please seek and pledge of allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the
republic
republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Roll call. Constable present. Ms. Rachel Silverman.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Stephen Kelly.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. May I seek a motion to approve the minutes from our June 18th meeting? It's on page number 3.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes have been approved for the June 18th meeting. Any public comment? No? Do we have Shannon yet?
We do. I'm just going to.
All right, perfect.
Shannon, can you hear us? Can you hear Costu?
Hi, Shannon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well.
I just want to make.
And perfect timing. Thank you. We already called to the order of the meeting. We have had Pledge of Allegiance. We are actually on point number 5, so no public comment as of yet. And I was going to request an executive session, if we could have one, and for which, Shannon, we'll need you. It'll be quick, 5 minutes.
No problem. Yeah, we just need a motion, a second, and we're going into executive session for advice of counsel.
Yes,
Yeah.
please, to discuss employee matters.
Motion for executive session.
Second.
Thank you. May I please request
Yes.
both of you to
All right.
step out, please?
No problem.
Thank you.
It's unbreakable.
Don't say that either.
Well,
Then we'll be in trouble. Ready?
are we back live?
Thank you. All right, we're back from our executive session. Please note that there was no decision made or any action taken. Any old business? Do we have any old business, Henry? No, right? So on the new business, we have two quick things. One is procedural as it relates to our applications. This is actually 2 points on procedures. One, we have noticed that it becomes a little cumbersome without any reference to review certain documents or the applications that come across. Yes, please.
Yes.
So we created a draft profile page, if you may, such that all board members can have a quick glance on what the application is. So not everybody has to get into things that may not be necessary. And all of us are volunteers, so hopefully something like this helps. The important part to note is it does not encumber our team to do anything, really. We are burdening, for the lack of a better term, in a good way, the applicant to provide the summary page from the information they're already submitting in the application. So if you both are in favor of this, and Steve, I'm happy to repeat if there's anything.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
We can discuss it.
And we can discuss it as well if you want to add, remove, or anything that might be missing.
That looks perfect to me.
All right.
I don't have any.
All right.
We'd like to put this with the application and ask projects to summarize their application, prior to submittal. And so when you guys get the application, this would be included as the first page is the idea.
Yeah, this makes perfect
All right.
sense.
Yeah.
So may I please seek a motion to recommend to include, or how does that work?
Sure.
Question on it.
Yes.
Why aren't you just doing this? Why do you have to come to the board for this?
It's a change to the application.
So
We're adding it as a page to the application.
Every
That's the question I
We-
had as well.
Shannon and I have discussed this as well, and I think it's been our process to, whenever we've made changes to the application, to bring it to the board for.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have my blessing.
Is there
Yes.
a question?
And I think it will also help for discussion, that way we're not flipping page
Yeah,
for
yeah.
page.
True,
We can
true.
kind of come back.
I think it's perfect and it will be extremely helpful. My only question is there any concern or anything we need to be mindful of if the applicant is the one providing the one-page summary?
So I think Shannon can weigh in here as well, and because she and I had this discussion, as did Kostuba and I think the thought was that I didn't want to put my
Right.
vision, so to speak, on maybe subconscious bias on any of this material. So this way, if the applicant felt they didn't get an accurate summary of their project, that it somehow created exposure for the IDA when
So
reviewing applications.
It's information coming
Yep.
from them, and we
Yep.
want to keep it that. That's all.
Okay, that makes sense.
But Shannon
And
did
it's
point
factual.
out that other IDAs have their staff do provide this. So there's,
I
precedent
think we
for
are just
both.
removing one layer of risk, so I would be more in favor of this.
And
I
we
think
can
this is
Yeah.
This is a good idea.
And we can check it for accuracy. We're not going
Yes.
to let them put something on a summary page that's not supported in the application. So,
Yeah, but it makes it easy to, right. So
Yeah. and this it makes it easier, I think, for you guys to have discussions with the application in front of you. If you kind of have everything, all the more or less relevant points to the IDA projects, kind of right on the first page.
One day, this is going to be an AI-driven.
I was going to say it would
Okay.
be standard that can be scraped off
Yep.
every application.
Yeah.
All right. So, Shannon, do we need a vote or a recommendation, or can we just suggest to the? How do we do this?
I would do a motion.
All right.
Recommend this.
Okay. May I please seek a motion to amend the application for UCIDA to include a project summary cover page by the applicant?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The second one is perhaps simple for this discussion.
Do you want me to pass this out or not yet?
Just a second. Yeah. So whenever you're ready. So this is the
No, we're
procedure.
still on.
If you,
Sorry, can I just?
Oh.
I just noticed you guys. We're still on the first bullet point. This was. We kind of have two parts to the processing.
oh yeah. So I have
application.
not gone beyond the
So
new
we're not on
business
the-
bullet point 1.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Our apologies.
My apology, actually. But there's a confidential draft that we can hand out. It is for the processing guide, application processing guide. Under the advisement of our counsel, we were asked to perhaps review it and make any amendments and changes. This is for reference purposes only and is being provided to you so you can see this revised version, which you are welcome to compare with the other version that was forwarded. But we don't need to discuss this today. We can discuss it once you have had the time to review. We can, of course, cover it to an extent.
How is it different from what we do now?
Well, there might be a few things that we have been advised that we should exclude from the council. One, yeah, so that would be, I would suggest instead of discussing anything, we can perhaps review this and compare it to the old version.
Yeah.
And maybe Hillary can assist in providing a comparison afterwards.
Yeah.
So this is just for your reference. No action is to be taken today on this.
This is. We want to
Got
give you time to, think about it and come back with any kind of input at the next governance committee meeting.
All right, fun stuff. Now I'm ready to move to the second bullet if you both are.
All right.
I will hand this over to Hillary completely because this is related to fee schedule guidelines. And as we had discussed in the past meetings that we do want to make a few changes to the fees. Hillary and I discussed, and again, these should be simple, but these are the updates to the fee schedule.
And what's in here?
So that in your packet is just the fee schedule guidelines. This is just Hillary Nichols' pen to paper ideas for potential changes. The reason we didn't include this is not a draft driven by governance. These were just things I'd like to kind of bring to your attention.
So the one in this is old one.
This is the
non-red line.
current one. This is one that's just for talking points, has ideas for changes that we can, governance to kind of think about and discuss. So.
Are these recommendations from you?
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, same here.
So I'll
Thank you.
do you want me to just
Yes,
walk
please.
through? Okay, so the first thing we wanted to do was governance, and the board had approved some changes to some of our policies specific around the background check. So we updated that language to reflect, which I apologize for not catching sooner, no longer collecting money around a background check fees. The next was, and this was the advice of counsel, and I think maybe Shannon, you can weigh in on a second, but project fees, we wanted to add language that says the UCIDA can amend this fee at its sole and absolute discretion. So one of the things that the IDA has great tools for are sales tax, mortgage reporting, and our real property tax abatements. Because of the way our fees are structured, sometimes for very small projects, they don't necessarily need that full package, and it can be very cost prohibitive to seek incentives from the IDA. So depending on the nature of a project, if there was a project, let's say potentially seeking only $50,000 in incentives from the IDA, doesn't necessitate a public hearing, then that may be a situation where the IDA at its sole and absolute discretion, not, the project seeking that, would have the ability to amend its fees so the cost to the IDA doesn't outweigh the benefit that a project may be receiving. So that was the language we were looking to include. And Shannon, you can add anything there if I'm not articulating that well.
No, I think you covered it well.
Okay.
So we would have the discretion
Discretion
Yes.
to waive certain
to
fees.
waive the fees,
So, or not waive them, to amend.
to amend them.
Yeah, we're not waiving. We don't want to waive fees.
We don't want to waive fees.
No.
We have the discretion to change them.
I'm in the fee schedule as need be for a size
Yeah.
that we deem appropriate.
Especially for projects under that $100,000 threshold that may not need the public hearing and other administrative tasks that become very cumbersome for the IDA. So again, this would be something that the board, using its absolute discretion, could have. And we, in discussing that with council, we thought that that was a better way, as opposed to trying to create a more cumbersome fee structure about projects that aren't in front of us, to just kind of keep it open like that. So,
Okay.
And then additionally, we wanted to add language in here that applicants are expected to pay all the costs incurred by agency counsel. And we use the language special counsel. I actually pulled this from another part of the application, and my guess is it's referring to, if the IDA gets sued and we use other counsel. We wanted to just put that in the project fees, highlight that a little more so project applicants are aware. So that was more small change. And then this is the one I think that I'm more excited about. If you move over to section 5, we have under the heading administrative fees for post-closing modification and amendment transactions. This was a minimum of $500, so it was kind of hard for us to maybe establish, when and how we seek over that minimum. That doesn't become really cost burdensome for us to start adding hours. And so what we'd like to do is, depending on the nature of the request, charge an additional administrative fee not to exceed 15% of the total of other incurred costs. So, for example, let's suppose a project comes, they're seeking an amendment. I'm going to use Landmark Place because that was very familiar to a project that recently was in front of the IDA. It necessitated 2 different coming on the board agenda twice. They also then had several requests from IDA staff that were somewhat outside of our kind of scope, and we more did it as a favor, which then I don't believe they appreciated the same way that we felt should be appreciated. And so what we'd like to do is, so for situations that become very complex, look at what those other administrative fees that the project's being charged, mostly those are going to be fees incurred by our council, and then kind of just tack on 15%. We felt that that was kind of comparable to what our costs may be compared to the cost of council, in order to kind of try to stick a pin in what that amount over the $500 should be and when it would be executed.
Is it also applied at our discretion?
I think it can be. I think for things that are pretty typical, putting something on the agenda, a couple emails back and forth, us checking to make sure that they're good on taxes, those are typical. It's when it starts to become a more complex scenario, we'd like to be able to, again, instead of trying to think of every situation where it may happen, use.
I have a question for council on this. Shannon, may I ask, does the ED have to necessarily come to the board every time this should be applied, or can the ED make that decision on their own? Because to me, it's an operating decision.
Yep.
That's how I see it. Can we have,
So if you pay the additional 15%.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that decision would need to be made by the board.
Okay.
Oh, I guess because it's at
Does
the
it have
board's
to be-
discretion.
Shannon,
Okay, that
is
makes
it
sense.
can or would it be may? It may charge.
I didn't hear that question.
Oh, is it a can or is it a may?
The agency can charge or may charge.
We can workshop the language, so like
Okay.
Hillary said, this was her
Yeah.
kind of initial draft for talking points, and then Chris and I will kind of tinker with this as necessary.
Okay. Well, in concept, I don't have any problem with it. But I just don't know at what level the board has to micromanage it.
So as written, the $500 would be, I think, an automatic charge, and then the not to exceed says to me that it could be less than 15%, it could be exactly 15%, and because that number could be potentially high depending on the project applicant's request. That's why we would want the board to approve that type of post-closing fee
I
if
see.
it's anything over the $500 in the policy as written. But, again, we're not saying that this is how the policy is going to be from now on, right? The full board hasn't seen this and hasn't adopted it yet. So we can change that. We can make it, we can revise it so that the board would need to approve that and it can be the executive director's discretion. But in general, when an IDA is charging a fee that isn't a fixed dollar amount in a policy, that's when you want the board approval because you want to make sure that there's a record saying that the board considered the facts and considered the circumstances of whatever fee they were going to charge and made a rational decision as to why they're charging a certain amount.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right. So the next one is just the reoccurring annual fees. I think when, this was kind of created, project costs hadn't skyrocketed the way that they had. And so, just suggesting maybe an update to the annual fee that doesn't necessarily penalize smaller projects, but, for larger projects, just like an increase of $500 for projects over 25 million, which would capture a very small percentage of our current projects, but be reflective of new projects coming on. I think that just given the cost, the increase in costs across the
I'm
board.
fine with these numbers.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
All right. And then I believe the last two changes was penalties if they don't submit. So one of the things right now that we run into is we have to collect documents by a certain date, submit those to Paris. If they're late, we then bring that to the governance committee to assess a late fee. But once they're assessed the late fee, there's no interest that accrues. It can be somewhat challenging for us to chase them. So what we were thinking, one, is to kind of up the late fee. Again, not to be punitive, but to hopefully, enact compliance for projects. And then the late fees due upon receipt. So we want to make sure that once they receive that invoice from us, that it's due. And then if it's not received, and again, this is where Shannon did point out we were being a little punitive, but, again, that's the point.
Filing the Paris is
That's exactly right.
Is an
Yeah.
essential thing for us.
Yes.
So initially, we were looking at
I would-
10% every 14 days, but that would become administratively burdening for us to every 15 days.
Yeah.
I
But
think this is fine to me.
10% every 30 days. So every 30 days that it goes unpaid, if they have a $1,000 late charge, that's adding $100 to it, which still kind of brings in a pretty punitive component.
But hopefully that sends
But
us the information
It's a
we
late
need.
fee.
Yeah.
It's punitive by
Definition.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Thank
so the late fees are 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000, depending on when they're filed.
Yep.
Right.
And then the late fees, so if they don't pay, it's going to be 10% of 1,000.
Every
to
30 days. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't work though, because from January 31st, filed after February 15th, I see. So maybe I got it.
So those are the three numbers that
Those are
you
the
might
three
get as your
buckets.
bill,
As your late
depending
fee
when
bill.
you send it in.
And then if you don't pay
If you
it,
don't pay that
Then there's an
bill,
incremental charge.
there's a penalty on top of the penalty.
Yeah. And it's
so the penalty would only be assessed on the 2,000.
on the
Correct.
2000. And it wouldn't start to be assessed until after they received an invoice, because we don't issue that invoice until governance, we bring it before governance. So sometimes they're not getting that late fee on February 16th. They're usually not getting it closer till May.
Could I propose a different?
Yeah.
That instead of doing that, we change the 2,000 to 5,000. So that it's a big giant hammer. They see it coming.
Fair enough.
And
I
you're-
think
and-
for
and
the
you're gonna be
28th,
giving-
yeah.
And you're going to be giving them, if they don't have it by the 31st of
Correct.
January, you're going to be saying, listen, you owe us $1,000, and if you don't get it done, it's 5,000. It's a big hammer.
I think that February 28th, I mean, we're really at that point cutting it so close to Paris.
We're gonna be late.
Yeah, so I like the
See,
I'm glad
5,000.
he's saying that because when I said it was punitive. So
We're just trying to get them to be cooperative.
exactly.
Yeah,
We don't want to
But it's
fine them.
important
That's
because
right.
Pay your
we
bills,
have to
people.
file
Yes.
We do.
That's a big deal to us.
Yes.
Is being
Yeah.
timely on the filing.
Yes. And it wastes a lot more time on our end.
And
do that.
we're kind of gentle.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit, but then it gets rough.
Yeah, and we can send out notice as well and make sure that people are well
Yes.
aware of the changes to our late fee policy, so no one would be caught off guard.
All right.
Okay, and then the last change I propose, this has never come up, but in the event that it may, the true cost for us to hold a special meeting, ask all the board members to come, having Natalie here to make sure that, we run the meeting effectively. This is not for public hearings. I feel like is not $500. And maybe, to ask that, I think I'd like to raise that cost. Additionally, I think it will have projects be more likely to submit on time and not make requests for special hearings or
This
special
number I
meetings.
Get it done on time.
This
Yeah.
number I don't have as much insight in, but if you think this is sufficient, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. If you think it's more, I'd be okay with it.
No, I think, I don't want it to be if they need a special meeting,
Okay.
that it becomes inaccessible to them,
Okay.
but I don't
Right.
want it to
Fair
feel
point.
like an easy lift that they can just call the board on a whim for $500.
Fair point.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
okay.
Alright.
Shannon,
So-
anything else that you saw in my comments?
No, not right now.
Okay, so may I please seek a motion to make a recommendation after the council has been able to provide input on this draft to the board when we have it ready
So moved.
with these changes? Thank you.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
And then,
I think that's
Okay.
it on this, right?
I think that's all we have.
So that was all for the UCIDA Governance Committee meeting agenda. May I please seek a motion to adjourn the meeting unless there is anything else to be discussed?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The meeting for UCIDA, August 12th, 2025, 4:32 p.m. is being adjourned. Thank you.
All right.